Hey guys, it's Jared with Xpresscreen this Tuesday. For this Tip Tuesday, I've got it's actually a new frame, and it's specifically for our GOCCOPRO QS200. If you guys don't know, check that out. It's the larger version of the GOCCOPRO 100. The 100 uses a 12-inch thermal print head, so about 11.5 wide image size by 31.5 long. The QS200 gives you a 16.5 wide by 24.5 long, but the biggest difference between the QS and the GOCCOPRO 100 is the QS200 allows you to use a pre-tension screen. And so what this does, this frame here, I'm actually haven't come up with a name for it as of yet. I'm actually calling it the Allen wrench screw frame, or the screw frame, and I'm going to show you how to put it together and explain what I'm doing, and at the end you're going to see that we've got a really tight tension screen that we're ready to expose with the QS200. So the way, like I said, this works, it uses screws, and these screws they're actually 5/32 Allen wrench size screws that are in there. And then we also use these D channels. The D channels will actually, once I roll mesh across, you'll see it's going to actually pinch the mesh into the frame itself. So the first thing you want to do, just like if you guys have watched the video on the GOCCOPRO 100 high tension frame, you always want to zero your frame out. Anytime you've got a frame that gives you tension or that provides tension, you always want to make sure you zero it out so you have the most potential for pulling tension. So for this frame, what that means is these little channels in here, you can see once I tighten these screws down, it's going to pull this channel out. So obviously I want all the channels all the way around, all four sides, to be at the furthest in point of the screen. Now when you go to roll out mesh, this is the mesh that you would use for this frame. You're going to roll out the mesh to be shiny side up. Those of you that have used our system or are familiar with our system know that our mesh is pre-coated on one side with a heat sensitive coating, and that's the shiny side here. I need that shiny side to be facing up because that's the side that's actually going to come in contact with the print head on the QS200. So all you do, you take your D channels, the D, or the rounded portion of the channel, you place it down. The flap itself goes towards the outside of your frame. So the one back here is going to go in just like this. We just put that bead down in there first and then just roll to the outside. Now I put these two in first, then I'll just take my knife and start a cut. And just go ahead and cut your mesh off the roll. That way you can get that out of your way and you don't need that anymore. Now, with the GOCCOPRO high tension frame, we would always secure two sides down and then go ahead and pull tension. You can do the same also with this frame, but for simplicity's sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and just clamp everything in. But if you wanted to, we could go ahead and start tightening each one of these three screws and then these three on this end to pull linear tension, what would be horizontal to me right now. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, clip everything in there. So this bead goes in first, flap towards the outside, and just roll that over. And so now all of the frame is actually put together. I've got a little not overly powerful hand tool or hand drill here, and we just start tightening. Now I will tighten in the middle first, and then tighten your two outsides. Okay. Okay, then you can just go back around, see if there's any other tightening you can do. And what I like about the little hand tool or hand drill here is that it allows me to kind of get a stopping point for all of these all the way around. Okay, so just like that, got a nice and tight screen. If we actually take our, I've got a Newton meter here. We actually take our Newton meter and we look at that. That's about 10 newtons in that direction. Yeah, just shy of 10 newtons in the other direction there. You can actually take a actual hand tool, Allen wrench, screwdriver, something like that, and tighten these even more. My drill is just not very tight. I'll strip my drill doing this, but you can actually tighten these really until these flaps get all the way out. Now, I do caution that because you hit a point of failure with the mesh itself, i.e. it'll rip. The other thing is what I found is much over 20 newtons as far as tension wise on our mesh for any elongated period of time will actually separate the coating and the mesh itself. So the coating itself is laminated to the mesh, and that'll cause too much tension, causes them to peel apart or delaminate themselves, and therefore deteriorate your prints quicker. So really all you need is about 10 to 15 newtons. Like that's a solid 10 in that direction, and this one this way is also now a solid 10. And that, as you can hear, I mean, it's definitely plenty tight enough. And so that's ready to take to our QS200 and have an image exposed on it. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It is it's a great frame as far as, in my opinion, that I don't need a a pneumatic frame stretcher. It's all self-contained within the frame. The catch with these frames, unfortunately, is they are imported from Japan, and so therefore they are a little bit more expensive. They're about $350 a piece, but you do get several of them within your package based on what your needs might be. So if you guys have other questions about this frame, like I said, I haven't come up with a quote-unquote formal name for it, but it's the screw frame for the QS200 as far as in my book. So but if you have questions about it or just want to know some more about it, definitely give me a shout. Number here is 800-597-9530. Thanks, and have a great Tuesday, guys.